Hey guys, welcome back to Guess the Grade. So this is a second set of 20 cards that we plan on sending in. I'm so sorry to anyone who sat through and watched our series Quest for 100. Granted, I think those were only 5 cards at a time, so I guess it was a little bit more bearable depending on if you like looking at Pokemon cards or not. So far, I would say most of our cards that we've done or send in currently are vintage cards. There's a few exceptions here and there, but that is what it is. We do have a little bit of announcements. So, we mentioned it in one of our videos, and we were honest about it, by the way, and that's why we have the eBay store right there listed, the link to it for anyone who's interested. We did list the Shadowless PSA 8 Blastoise, which is this one here, PSA 8 Shadowless. Um, we did list it on our eBay store with a starting bid of a penny. Currently, as we make this video, it's at $26. There's still like 5 to 6 days left in that bid. I know some of you might be thinking, well, it's not really an opportunity if you keep telling the world. But even though I've only got 78 subs and only about 3 to 4 of you watch the content, anyways. So if you're interested, go take your chance to try and win a Shadowless PS8 Blastoise. Currently, still fairly cheap. Um, in terms of it, usually goes for $1,000 to $2,000, and sometimes on a good day, 2,800, $3,000. But usually a grand. Um, and if you're not interested, but you know a buddy of yours that is, give them the opportunity to try and win a Blastoise Shadowless PS8 for cheap. And then also, if you have any buddies who are into Pokemon cards and they aren't watching the channel, or at least aren't subbed to the channel, we do still have the 100 sub going on giveaway, which when we hit 100 subs, we'll do a giveaway video for this card. And then luckily also another one of my buddies mentioned that I probably should make a Facebook page um, to increase the popularity of the channel and help gain those subs as well. So I'm not trying to put all the pressure on people who are already watching and are sub to this, but in terms of trying to gain subs, my buddy had me do a pretty good idea. He's pretty good at stuff like that. So, but without further ado, let's go ahead and start sending this next set of 20. Also, forgot to mention, make sure you guess the grades. We're not giving a prize for every last correct grade, but we do tend to give prizes out for people who guess the grades correctly. Granted, it's going to take a long time for these cards to come back, but we do preference those who guess the grade correctly before someone. So let's say someone was the first person to say like a Pikachu was going to get PSA 5 and it's on this video, and they were the first person out of all the comments to say that. But let's say someone else also said PSA 5 Pikachu. The person who commented it first would be the winner if we chose to be one of the giveaway cards for that correct grade. So just make sure you're guessing the grades on all our guess the grade videos. This is our second set of 20. So we have 2 videos with a set of 20. This is one of them. And then we also have the original 15, which is a really old video. I might take some time and put all the links into the description on this video, so that way you know which videos to go and guess the grades on. And if you like watching Pokemon cards being thoroughly gone through and trying to figure out the grades for things, then those are good channels or good episodes to watch, especially when the grades come back. They're going to help me and help whoever's watching this channel to figure out what to expect their cards might get for a grade if they send them in. Because that's really the whole point. We're hoping for good grades, but we don't know exactly what we're going to get because we're sort of new, but not 100% to PSA grades. Kind of long explanation, so we're just going to jump that and move right into the content for this video. So this card to me has always been super, super cool. Granted, I don't know how they're going to grade it exactly because it's all hollow foil. I'm certain there's a few that have this, but this one has 2 swirls right there, left to right, almost perfect marking spacing for those. There's another one in the bottom right corner, so triple swirl. And then I think there's another one on here. I just know there's like, if I'm gonna write that down when I go to guess my grade on this, that there is 3 swirls for sure. The one is right here, the other one's right there, and then the other one's right there. And I think, yep, four swirls. I'm writing that down. I don't think there's 5 swirls, maybe by his name. We'll write 4 to 5 swirls. I don't think there's many cards that are like that, even ones that are complete hollow foil like this. But the issue is they made this hollow foil material basically from the same hollow foil material as the original cards. On the back, there's almost no damage. Just the centering is off. It's pretty hard top to right. Um, so other than that, it's just centering is bad. All the original wax and stuff is there. The front, there's some surface scratches. I don't know how hard they grade this. I'm going to say 7 and 9, but I'm going to write down that it's like a 4 to 5 swirl card. So 7 to 9, 4 to 5 swirls. I don't know if that will add any value to it. I know some people definitely charge more for swirls. Usually that's not when it's graded, but I have seen some people ask for more even when it's graded with swirls. So yeah, that is the promo Ante 4 to 5 swirls. I say 5. I'm counting that top left one. Oh, maybe even another one forming right here. It's nuts. So that is a lot of swirls. The next card is, I would say, a lot of people's favorites originally. It's definitely one of mine. It is a Jungle Scyther. No, not for me specifically the Jungle set, but Scyther himself is a pretty awesome Pokemon. It's got that star pattern. Jungle, I believe, shares the same pattern as base set 1. The centering on the front isn't perfect. Well, I mean, I guess in terms of the fact that the top border is this also as thick as the bottom border, technically the centering is pretty good on this. Left to right's not really too much different. Left's a little bit thicker than the right. Centering for me has always been a hard one. Looks like there's a scratch there. The hollow foil isn't really that beat up, which is good. And let's look at the back. A lot of the original gloss. I'm not seeing too much whiting. What you're seeing up top is more just a sort of like a small itty bitty fold. Nothing crazy. I'm going to say 8 to 9. It's probably just an 8. It's probably not a 9. But I would say it's probably an 8. I just gotta get it in its thing right. So, the issue is I just barely pull these things out of their sleeves and cases when I prepare for this video, because it's a lot of work to get them back out of the cases. A lot of these cards were already ready and done up for the PSA Quest for 100 videos, and now I'm pulling them back out and going back through them and sorting specific 20s and trying to make it available and readable against the grade. Now, to me, this one, way cooler Scyther. This is the shiny Vault Scyther. One, the hollow pattern's cool, and two, his just general art himself is a lot better on this card. It looks pretty clean. You can definitely see the card is completely different material than the original cards. So funny thing about this card, like PSA 9 to 10, they go for like $100, and I would say they're actually pretty easy to get. I wouldn't say 10s are. See, this one's definitely gonna be a 10. There's like a dent there, but I'll still say possible 9 to 10. But there's like some sort of probably binder dent is what it is. That kind of sucks. If it wasn't for that, I would say it's definitely likely to get a 10. I'd say it's definitely likely to get a 9. I'm going to guess 9 to 10. We'll see if they... I mean, 10 is supposed to be absolutely no imperfection, but we'll see how they grade that. But it's really funny. You can actually get this card as a 9 and 10, pretty common, and then you can just buy them for $7 each, and then get them rated to be a 9 or 10, and then they're worth about 100. And that will probably go up over time. I think all the Shining Pokemon now, they aren't going to jump up drastically, especially if it's not a specific one, but I would say all the Shining Pokemon are going to go up in value, but not immediately. This one, sadly, I think this so far is actually probably the coolest Scyther I've seen. I don't know if we're looking at his back or his front. I guess it's his front because his wings are supposed to be on his back. It's a very weird way for him to have like his lower bug-like type needle abdomen. But this one is a little bit more beat up. It's got some stuff raising up at the top and the corner. The hollow foil itself is kind of scratched up. I mean, it's a good bit of scratches. To me, though, the background's pretty cool. He's like in the leaves, but he's not exactly on the ground. They don't ever seem to do that for Pokemon. They don't ever seem to actually put them in like an actual scene. They're like kind of a part of the scene, but not really in it. I think a few cards they have, but not all of them. The back is pretty clean, which is good. There's a few whiting and the centering is a little bit off. This was really hard for me to guess. I don't truly think it's an 8. I'm going to guess between 6 and 8. And it's just that I'm not really certain yet because I still haven't received my original 15 cards back. In fact, they've been at the same process for I think 2 to 3 weeks now. They're still stuck on grading. I was really surprised to see that that needle hasn't moved at all. It's not even into assembly yet. It's still into grading, which is nuts. This one is a really nice card in my opinion. It would have definitely been way better if it wasn't for like I don't know. I guess the original owner took like a something across it, like a pencil of some sort, like with no graphite, or a pen without the ink part out. It's a really good swirl. It's like a huge swirl if you count like all of this going into it. It's pretty big. There's like an indent here. You can't see it when I hold the light just like that. You can't see any damage. But when I bring that white light right onto it and actually move that white light around the card, the damage becomes apparent. Now, other than that, they're not scratches. Those are like just really elongated indents. Wow, there's a really nice Cosmo pattern on this. Rainbow Energy's always been a really nice card. The symbol is there, but what's strange, I don't know if it's just because it's a trainer, but there's no number. Usually, Japanese cards will have like a number 0101 or something. There's no number on it, but I don't know if it's just as a trainer. I haven't spent a lot of attention, I haven't paid a lot of attention to trainers. The back's not in perfect condition. I would say, oh yeah, there's some like original wax missing. 8's definitely really high. I don't think it's an 8. I do like to guess in terms of that. I'm going to say 6 to 8 as well. It's possibly closer to a 7, but once again, I really don't know the difference between 7 and 8. And I kind of have a good general understanding of the difference between 8 to 9. And I'm just mentioning that because we're talking about the differences between grades. And like 8 to 9, it is pretty, you would think there isn't too much improvement between an 8 to 9, but in terms of like how much harder they grade for a 9, it's pretty significant. So, versus an 8. But it becomes more lenient as you go down the system. So it's very possible that card's a 7. Now, I still don't know what series this is from. I'm certain I'll find out later. To me, this series, the way they did it, where it has like this Pokeball symbol in the middle that's also hollow foil, is awesome. There is some deep scratches. Like, those are some solid scratches I'm not happy about. Granted, I really didn't pay that much for this card, but still, the background of it is awesome. The little symbols in the back are awesome, being hollow foil. Marathon is like, I guess, surrounded by electricity. I always thought it was a moon when I was looking at this card, but now that I think about it, it's probably just a ball of electricity. Even the rarity symbol is hollow. Really cool. I don't know this series. I think it's like Secret Wonders or something. I'm probably wrong. The back is in pretty solid shape, which is good to see. So it's really hard for me to guess. I know that they really grade hard on that main hollow foil being scratched up. I'm going to guess 7 to 8. I'm not going to say 9. I know it's not a 9 because there's just too much scratch on that hollow foil. And so it's an immediate giveaway that it's not going to be a 9. If it came back a 9, I don't know. People. These videos may ruin the PSA. Granted, as much as I talk crap about them, I don't want them to lose their grading standards. I just wish I want them to keep their grading standards. I wish it would be kind of cool if they did what Beckett Grading System does, which is basically cheat the system with an extra 10 label. Moving on though. So we're moving on to the Great Flaming Chicken, a fossil Maltrace hollow. He looks pretty good at first, but as we start to point some things out, that become apparent. So as I put that light on him, you can see there's some silvering on the edge. There's some scratches on the hollow foil to include that. There's like it's kind of hard to see, but there's basically a little bit of the main front ink missing as well. It's not huge. It's little itty bitty dots. Wow, Maltrace is supposed to be 6'7" tall. Granted, he's only 132 pounds, but he's like a whole foot taller than Charizard in the series, apparently, which is nuts. The back's pretty clean. There is some scratches on the back, but the whiting is pretty not there. A little bitty bit. This one's kind of hard in my opinion. Again, definitely not a 9, but probably between a 7 and 8. And I'm only guessing that because of the two cards I've received back, which is that Shadowless Blastoise and Shadowless Charizard. So we'll see. It's, in my opinion, closer to a 7, uh, but we'll see. Um, while I have y'all here, what I have considered actually doing, because I really do enjoy getting to go through the cards, is I may actually open up my own grading service. Granted, I have no idea how much that costs to start, but I have a feeling the main expense is just getting the grading machine, not grading machine, the Sonic Case Sealer. But yeah, moving on, Dark Raichu, also another really cool card, especially since it's arguably one of the first secret rares. This one does have a scratch on the hollow foil. Not like a lot of scratches. There's a swirl right next to his cheek, but you can see there's like a scratch right under the light, right next to the whip of his tail. Other than that, it's a really cool card. I always like Raichu, especially over Pikachu. Pikachu's kind of just a gimmick to me in a sense. Raichu is actually, there to win. Centering's pretty good on the front. Borders are pretty even. There's only that one scratch on the hollow foil. There's a little bit of whiting, so the whiting becomes more apparent when I put it over a different surface for viewing instead of the paper. So there's whiting here and there. I'm going to guess between 7 and 9. I know I'm doing guesses that are I've done a lot of guesses so far today that are 2 grades in between, but it's guesses, and this will help us narrow down our guesses. And you have to understand, even the PSA says their grading is subjective or objective to who your grader ends up being, and it just can't be helped. It's done by humans, and that is how it is. So it's whatever. This is another super nice card in my opinion, just because he was also a really awesome Pokemon to me. Gengar. Almost in a sense, when you look really close to this one with how clean it is on the print for him, one, I noticed his pupils don't match up. His pupils are actually different places apart, but he's almost kind of like a wooden, like original, like a witchcraft, Louisiana witchcraft mask. He's got a swirl up in the top right, almost like 2 that kind of like overlap each other in a sense. He's super clean. He's a 1996 one, Japanese. There's really nothing wrong with them on the front. There is some hollow foil scratches, but they're not deep, so I don't know how hard they're going to grade on that. The back is pretty clean. This is pretty typical with Japanese cards. They come in really good condition. If you're really looking to collect, in my opinion, you really should just collect the Japanese versions. They're just way less played. They're like, I don't know, they're super better looking in my opinion. They're just cleaner, and they're technically the original since Pokemon comes from Japan. It's really simple. It's really crazy how the English ones go for more, but I guess technically, because there's probably fewer, we're not near the direct source. I'm going to say 8 to 10. Really, I think it's a 9, but we'll go with it. I just checked. The rarity symbol is still there. Something to always look at your Japanese card, see if there's a rarity symbol or not. This card isn't in as good condition as I'd like it to be, but to me he's always been dope, and I thought he was bigger too, at least in weight, but I guess not. So Venusaur, apparently only 221 pounds. I don't think when they were doing these Pokemon they were getting the weights, the height and stuff correct. I think Venusaur not only is probably taller, but he's definitely, I know they don't put width, but he's such a wide boy. But oh well. He's got dents all across him. He's got some silvering. He's got scratches on his hollow foil. He's got some more silvering at the bottom. Oh, the back, surprisingly, is actually in really decent condition. That's, compared to the front, that's really weird. That's going to make this probably really hard for the PSA to grade, because typically they use from my experience so far, and from looking at other cards and reading the grading standard, the PSA kind of goes, yeah, if your back got white, you're going down some grades, but like this one, like the back is fairly clean and not really relative to the front. Man, this is going to be a hard one. I'm going to guess low, just to guess low, because it really is kind of beat up in that top corner and some of the rest of it. I would say 5 to 7. It's probably more 5 to 6. Just because I just don't know how hard they grade on dents specifically is the issue. I think if I'm correct, they don't take warping into account, but warping and dents are 2 separate things. Same thing with warping and creases. Those are two separate things, but you know, it's whatever. This one's pretty decent, and you know he's always been a cool Pokemon too. Once again, the height to weight ratio makes no sense to me for what this Pokemon is, being a turtle, and how heavy he would actually be, in my opinion. But it's not the error card, at least not for the stage error. Maybe there's something else I'm not seeing. This holofoil is pretty scratched up. It's not murdered, but it's pretty scratched up. It's not mirror for sure. There's some silvering, but it's really not crazy. The light's just making it seem like there's a lot. Once again, there's sort of like a dent. I don't really understand why a lot of these cards are like this. I wonder if these were all from the same binder of some owner. The back looks nice, but when you kind of understand what you're looking for, it looks like there's a decent amount of wax missing, but it's all even. It's not like there's lines of it missing. It's like it's all one even layer of wax missing. Centering is a little off top to bottom. Well, I'd say a lot off top to bottom. This one's kind of hard too. I'm gonna say 6 to 7. I don't think it's in the 5 category. That would be surprising. If it came back at 8, once again, I'd be surprised, but also at a certain point, I wouldn't be surprised just because of what the 2 cards came back as. But we'll see eventually, maybe 5 years from now when these cards come back. As I said, we did send in the other 20 just the other day, but it'll be a while till we get those back. Hold on, I'm having some trouble with the penny sleeve. There we go. Hold on, trying to get them out without damaging them. So, Neogenesis Meganinium, if you haven't been following, we have like 4 to 6 of these, this specific one. They're not all in perfect condition, sadly. There is some issues, but I can tell you now, this one's probably a 9 to 10. Almost all of them should be about a 9, depending on, you know, if I'm correct or not. They're pretty cards. There's no rarity symbol. The back is pretty clean, super clean. That is a wonderful back. I'm going to guess 9 to 10. There is a little upraised corner there. I'm going to guess 9 to 10 though. I don't know how hard that corner is going to be graded. So I'm going to put him back. Give me a second. So if you haven't submitted any orders on the PSA yet, like on their website, there is definitely some difficulties, in my opinion, in terms of like finding your specific cards. You want your label to be right, you know, you don't want your label to be wrong. And yeah, there's sometimes some serious difficulty to where you're like pulling out hair and you know you're putting in the exact right information, but for some reason their system just does not have a good way of like pulling out the information you need. I don't know why. Neogenesis for Alligator, he's pretty dope. I don't know if it's not really silvering. It's like there's a slightly raised up edge. There's any swirl, but he's got like the giant ball to the bottom right. I don't think there's any names for that. He's pretty clean. I'd say he's probably 9 and 10 too. Probably closer to, higher grade than that Meganinium, because there seems to be no damage with this one at all, which is wonderful to see. So we are going to go ahead and write 9 to 10. And see how that goes. Hope that goes well. The other thing that's going to delay us seeing this in a little bit is I gotta find more rubber bands. Rubber bands really help, and in terms of packaging. So if you didn't see, there's a really easy way to package your cards if you're using top loaders, which is my preferred method with the PSA. They'll tell you to use card savers. I don't think card savers are that great. I've mentioned my reasons why. But moving on, probably to everyone's favorite of those starters is Typhlosion. Typhlosion, pretty cool looking, pretty aggressive sort of Pokemon, which everyone sort of expects from a fire-ish Pokemon. Pretty much a fire ferret / snake. He's also 9 to 10 category. He's super clean. Super clean. I'm going to just straight guess 10, actually. I'm not even going to say 9. I'm not even going to jinx it. I'm just going to say 10. He's super clean. I haven't received, as many cards back, but if you don't know, I did have some PSA 10 Typhlosions actually on this channel because those were actually some of the first cards I got in terms of buying PSA cards from someone right down the street, actually, which worked out really well. Really good deal for me, and he was pretty happy. So, as long as we're both happy. Once again, in my opinion, just, any sort of Pokemon with nice for hands. Really cool Pokemon. Kabutops. It's a different version of him for me than I've seen. So, Power Keepers. Um, uh, it's really hard to show. There is like one stretch on his hollow foil, but it might be a factory line. You can kind of see what I'm talking about. It runs right past his head and over his arm. Other than that, the front's pretty good. There is some whiting right there on the corner. There's probably more whiting that we can't see. So we're going to guess 8 to 9. And the reason why we couldn't see it is because the background is white. So it makes it hard to see whiting with the background being white. So, yeah, we'll just guess 8 to 9. I don't think he's going to come back at 10. They're really strict on that. And that's good. There's a reason why. It's supposed to be perfect cards. 10s. This next one, also again, really cool Pokemon. I know I say it for a lot of them. I guess I will eventually find some that I don't think are cool. I just one that I don't think is cool. I don't think Muck is very cool. I just wanted to at least show that there is some that I don't think is very cool. I don't think Lapras is very cool either. But that's another. I guess there'll be another series Pokemon that aren't cool. Jolteon though, really cool. Really cool holographic, really cool Pokemon. One of the evolutions of Eevee, everyone really enjoyed. Or it does enjoy Eevee and all the evolutions he can do, which was a really kind of interesting idea that Pokemon did. It seems kind of easy, but in terms of how they have only a few Pokemon like Jolteon or like Eevee that do all these different evolutions, and not all the Pokemon do that, that's actually pretty cool. He's pretty clean on the front. I have a hard time with centering. I would say left to right's a little off, but I'd say top to bottom's pretty good. His back is pretty clean. Doesn't look like there's any whiting. Oh, there's a little bit. I would say he's in the 8 to 9 category, really. I might be wrong. I probably am wrong. But we'll say 8 to 9. He's definitely got to be at least an 8. But I think he's got a solid chance of a 9. And to be honest, actually, as a card, in terms of if you needed someone to really especially back then, considering most Pokemon really weren't above 70 HP, his attack pen missile really seems to be really OP, especially if you're dealing with someone who had a water-based deck, because one, it's doing double the damage. And two, you're flipping 4 coins, sure, but that's really not that hard. I learned as a kid how to flip 4 coins and make them land on heads each time. So you're going to 80 damage from that. You're not going to have to remove any energy cards. It's really not that crazy of an energy requirement. And then on top of that, if you're dealing with a water-based deck user, especially back then, you're one-hit KOing pretty much every last card they throw at you. So he's pretty good. But we're going to say 8 to 9. Almost lost track on that. But yeah, wow. I guess I never realized how good he was in terms of especially back then. Today though, he'd pretty much get one hit by a Pikachu. I am so happy to get this card in terms of what this Pokemon meant to me, especially watching the show as a kid. But it's kind of funny, in my opinion, at least from all the versions I've seen, they've never made Shining Ho-Oh OP. Shining Ho-Oh is supposed to be some extreme legendary bird, and they never really make him super OP. He's almost in the same category of Charizard, basically. He's really not that playable of a card in a sense. He's really not that great. But it's a cool card to have, cool card to see. I'm glad that they make cards of him. They don't make him super rare and legendary to where they only made him during base set and only made a few of them, which they could have done. They could have made him just for one set and never printed him out again. So there's a little off on the corner. The centering's a little off. There's no whiting though. We're gonna say 9 to 10, but he probably isn't a 10. He should make a 9. The other thing I don't agree with is they made him fire energy type. They did that for a few of his cards. I know for one he's colorless, which makes sense because he's supposed to be a non-energy super legendary bird. We already have a legendary fire bird. We already have a legendary electric bird. We already have a legendary water slash ice bird. He he should remain with no element, in my opinion. Water type, but he's a freeze Pokemon. This one's actually better than I thought in terms of since I sent a few cards in. But he is still not in perfect condition for sure. So it's a first edition Hollow Articuno. You can see there's kind of it's not really in a direct crease, but you can definitely see there's like some sort of bend in the top that's not supposed to be there. What is that? I don't know if that is a misprint or a dirt over his name. I try to make it come off. Oh, it's definitely not a misprint. It's probably pencil markings. His hollow foil definitely isn't in perfect condition, but still barely visible. There's some silvering. Is the back decent? Could use some work. I know I graded it really low in my original run when I was looking at things, but after I had a few come back, I'm going to say between 4 to 6. The 6 is probably being generous, and the 4 is probably being low. He's probably a 5 flat, but I just have no idea, and we'll eventually find out from the PSA, probably in the year 2025 when they send them back. I know that joke's probably getting old, and it's a running joke, but I'm going to keep running it because, I wish they were a little bit better. I understand that they're backed up, but you should change your obligation times to match. But that's just me. And now moving on to the penis Pokemon. So Diglett, it's really interesting. They made him digital. When they were doing a lot of the base set cards, a lot of almost everyone was hand drawn, but they said, hey, let's go ahead and make a digital Diglett penis Pokemon. And that's what they did. First edition Shadowless. He's in pretty good condition. I really wish I would have treated my first edition Shadowless, even all my base set cards, way nicer, because they are worth a ton. Well, they're worth a lot in terms of what they are. PSA 10s. I do see some things that would prevent it from being PSA 10. I'm going to do a double guess. I'm going to guess between 8 to 10. Hopefully it'll get a 9. I don't think it will get a 10. I know I should say hopefully it'll get a 10, but I just think realistically it won't. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and hope for the best, but hope for reality. And then once again, we are doing the penis dirt Pokemon. I am trying really hard to get him out. There we go. And I think what was really upsetting for a lot of people, and people didn't even think about it for a while, and I think confirmed it is his nose, but because they made him digital instead of drawn, it's really hard to tell if that is his nose or mouth. I know it seems really silly, but thinking about Pokemon really don't totally make sense. And so that could have been his mouth just open, like he's seeing something in shock, and that facial expression. But I think they confirmed that is his nose. It'd be dope if it was his mouth and he just shot hyper beams, basically water sprinkler style, popped up hyper beam that went right back down. He would make a great anti-air Pokemon in terms of being able to pop out, shoot down aerial Pokemon, and pop right back into the ground for protection. There is some other things, actually, let me check too. I don't know if it's common with Digletts, but there is some fighting energy errors in terms of the directions facing, but neither of them seem to have it. He's still not per condition, and I can tell it, so I'm certain the PSA will catch it. But we're going to still say, we're going to do I know it's a 2 grade gap, but we're going to say 8 to 10. So yeah, guys, kept this one a little bit shorter. Did a good job on that. That's good. I do have some other videos. I do have some more marketplace negotiation videos, whatever you want to call them, mishap videos. I'm not quite certain the proper name or title for them. But basically, what I have to deal with on Marketplace, uh, it's very interesting. I do say so the least. But remember, help us reach 100 subs, please, so we can do that fossil hypno giveaway, non-hollow. And you know, if it doesn't interest you, that's fine. But if you could please let any of your buddies who would be interested that we do have that PSA 8 Shadowless Blastoise on bid. Currently, I think it's at $26 still. But it did start at a penny, and there's about 5 to 6 days left. And congrats if you made it this far. We are doing a 5-card giveaway. The 13th comment wins. Good luck if you made it this far. And if you don't know the rules to that, you can comment 13 times yourself. Snipe comments are allowed. I understand that there are definitely some dedicated people. Who knows who will win? It's probably down to the same 3 people. So 13. I believe it said 13th comment. 13th comment wins. And it can't be threaded. It has to be original comments. And you can comment anything. You can comment pictures, GIFs. You can comment videos. You can just comment words, periods, punctuation marks. It doesn't have to be in English. Doesn't have to make sense. Just the 13th comment will win a 5-card giveaway. And then also we still owe Dark Fiery Ignite their base set water energy for guessing the grade correctly for the Shadowless Blastoise. But yeah, thanks for watching. Let us know if you want to see more. And good luck with guessing the grades. Bye.